Those of you watching on the live stream, hello, you will at this point need to click into the separate live stream event for either computer art or design and advertising. So speaking of, hello computer art, I believe you're on this side of the theater. You're again going to be just crossing the hall and going into the
How's everybody doing today? You good? Yeah? Yeah? Yeah! I need your energy, so I need you to be awake, to be here. It's Saturday. I think it's a good day. I think, like David Rhodes was saying, you're in the right place. You're in the right place for today. And maybe this is the right place for the future. We'll figure that out together. But this is the right place for today. So, welcome to the computer art portion of your presentations today. We're going to talk a bit about our department. I have a lot of our students here to talk to you because I don't want to talk that long. I want them to talk. I also really think that who we are is really built on who our students are. So I want you to get to hear from them, meet them, and you'll have questions for them. And there will be a time to talk to them. So that's a lot of what we're going to do here in this theater. We'll be here about an hour, so get comfortable, make yourself comfortable. And then after we're done here, we'll walk back with you over to our facility so you can see where the classes take place, where our students' community exists in a physical space. So it should be a fun day. I'm excited for it. As was mentioned, my name is Jimmy. you can call me Jimmy. That's oh, whoa. I was just gonna give you the pose again, but it's a good pose, I think. My name's Jimmy. So I'm the chair of the department. I'm here to guide our students and our curriculum and our faculty. So you come here to work, to be artists, to work with pixels and pencils and paper, and I'm here to work with students and faculty and build something with the people that are here. So I've been teaching this program for a long time. I've been the chair for about 5 years now, 5 and a half, excuse me. And yeah, today we're going to show you a little bit more about the department, and I'm going to start by showing you some student work. So we'll take a look at some of the thesis, some clips from the thesis films from last year. What I love about our students' work is that it's so diverse, and it really speaks to who they are. They bring their own visuals, their own personality to what they create, and we really don't put any limits on that. We try to help support what their vision is, and it's exciting. It gives us a lot of different things every year. What you saw were clips from the thesis films from the class of 2022 that happens in the 4th year, but to get to the 4th year, this is a look at the curriculum that our students follow to learn over the 4 years. So as mentioned before, it's 72 credits of studio art, 30 credits of humanities and science, 15 credits of art history, 3 miscellaneous elective credits, which of course you want to do with computer art, right? But some people do printmaking, some people do painting classes. You get to explore, you get to try new things, and then all that adds up to your Bachelor of Fine Arts. Our curriculum is production-based. We really focus on storytelling, concept art, 3D animation, modeling, rigging, lighting, texturing, compositing. Lighting's so important, I mentioned it twice, and visual effects. So if you're unfamiliar with some of that, as maybe some of the parents are, or if you came today undecided, we gave you a glossary as you were walking in, just to kind of help you get a better sense of what some of these terms are. Hopefully you'll find that handy. But also just out of curiosity, by a show of hands, who came today knowing they wanted to come to the computer art presentation? Good, good, you're my favorites. I'm kidding. Who came today because they're interested in SVA and you just happen to be here, but you're not sure what department, or maybe it's a different department that's not presenting today? You're also my favorites. Don't be shy. Cool. So maybe, again, with the glossaries, with what we present today, maybe we'll be able to give you a better understanding of who we are and what we do, and perhaps open your interest into our department. So going along with that, just to give you an idea of the work that goes into creating these films, this is a breakdown of how a character is built. So this is a student character from a few years ago, and you see it starts with building the character. You have to rig the character, which adds the controls to it, so you can animate it, you can move the character. Then you start to add a final look dev to it, so a texture map, and we'll see this character come to life through color. It's that easy. So simple. And then, what you have here could be easily used in a fully CG animated film, or you could composite that in with live action footage and create a VFX film. But this is one component built out of many components of what we do. I'm also going to show you a breakdown now of visual effects students' work, so you can see it goes into the more live action and compositing end of things. So all this work is being done at our facility. We'll walk over after our presentation here so you can see it. So we won't talk too much about it right now, but it's certainly a great state-of-the-art production facility, and we stay current with all the software that our students need, hardware. You'll see our production studios, which include a green screen cyclorama, a motion capture stage, and a sound room as well. So you'll have a chance to look at those later. And in that facility is our community, and our community is made up of the faculty, staff, students, and even our alumni who we stay in close contact with. Our faculty are all working professionals. A lot of them are working at local studios during the day. They'll come in after work and teach students in the evening. Or some of them flip that. We have a number of instructors who start their day at SVA and then they go work at the studio after. And certainly the pandemic has actually helped us in scheduling more daytime classes, as faculty can work remotely from their day job, come in, teach during the day. And it's actually enabled us to have faculty who work at studios like Pixar and Disney on the West Coast but live in New York, so they can come and teach you here while they're working out west as well. The students are truly who we are. They make our facility feel like a second home. They organize themselves into 2 department clubs. You see some representation of the student clubs within our own department here. We'll actually have the club set up at the facility today when you come back by. when you come by, and you can meet some of the students and talk about their interests and why they've started these clubs and what keeps them connected. And also, some of our panelists today are in these clubs as well, and they can talk about that too. But now, I'm actually going to invite one of our students, Em, up. Em Hackley is a senior. They started, yeah, Em. So our seniors start working on their thesis film in their junior year. They start planning their story, and then they go into full production in the senior year. And Em is in full production now, and I'm going to have them share with you their work in progress. So you're just going to hit the space bar. I'm just teaching her how to use teaching them how to use Keynote. Space bar. Here's your volume rocker.
Cool. Thank you. Hi, thank you, Jimmy. I'm so happy to be here today. I'm really passionate about what I do in this department, and VFX is just absolutely delightful. So yeah, I am currently deep in thesis post right now. I have been in pre-production since just about the beginning of this year. I had changed my idea a couple times, but I'm doing a live action music video with a lot of 3D integrated elements. So here is the starting slide. Currently the title is Black Magic, and a very kind of loose way that I went about going it is this summer I had gotten together a crew of people, and I had a one-day, 14-hour shoot at the beginning of August. Went very smoothly. Jimmy and the other administration and staff in the department were very helpful for giving me access to the resources that I needed to be able to shoot what I did. So a very brief overview of the plot is my story is about a young withdrawn adult who is very recluse and solitary, and in their conflict within their inner self, the manifestations of like all things bad and who they really are start to haunt them, and they find themselves in this demented dance with their other half, desperately trying to leave that part of themselves behind and buried. So some kind of key notes is the feeling I can't hold it in anymore. It's a story ultimately about self-acceptance. How do you come to terms with a part of yourself that you've hidden for all of your life as much as you can? Raw, ugly emotion starts to rear up its head, and you find the conflict of shame and frustration and ultimately defeat and acceptance as you come to it. So kind of the little graphic in the corner is some simulations that I've done. I do a lot of 3D on the side, so that's why I'm that's why I'm incorporating it into my thesis. I had a lot of inspiration. It's the first thing that I did when I started going into this. So I was looking at other music videos that really kind of inspired me. Still Feel by Half Alive is very iconic to me. Very fun choreography and the way that it's shot. It gives the illusion of extremely long shots that have hidden cuts. Another really cool one was this commercial for Kenzo World. This one also, choreography was fantastic, but there was a lot of really great hidden VFX as well. And then another really impressive one, this one was done actually at the Mill, which is located, one of the studios is located in the city, is Wide Open by the Chemical Brothers. This was another music video that had a lot of really heavy 3D integration with a dancer, which was really kind of what I was going for ultimately. And then my final piece of inspiration was this Apple commercial, Welcome Home. This had some really nice interactions between the dancer and the environment and how the music kind of pushed the narrative forward. So during all of my prep, I did some render tests just with my own camera and myself, and you can kind of see that here. So this is not what the final looks like. This was just something I did back in the spring to kind of show proof of concept for the idea that I had. So you can see the shadow figure kind of coming up from behind the couch, and this was the general vibe that I was going for. And then for more R&D or research and development, here are a couple of GIFs of some simulations that I've done to try and develop the look that I want this shadow figure who's going to be kind of haunting my dancer to look like. So it's not finalized yet. I'm still doing tweaks, but this is definitely kind of the general look that I'm going for. And then I have a little edit that I can currently show you of my dance scene for it, which is right here, I believe. Just press the spacebar button. There we go. That's. Oh, sorry. Cool. I wanted to try and scrub through this, but it's not letting me. So. Oh my gosh, look at that. Cool. All right, so I'm going to turn the volume down a little bit because I'm not sure how long this is going to be. But here is my current cut. So there's no effects added into it. This is all just raw footage that I had shot with my crew. So I was the director, producer. I worked with this dancer and choreographer on and off for several months. But yeah, I'll show a little clip and then move on. And what was really great is during this, I was able to actually collaborate with a lot of the film department students at SVA. My DP was in the film department. My production designer was in the film department. I believe my gaffers were also from the film department, which is really awesome. So there definitely is like an opportunity. Film students are always looking for people to collaborate with ideas. So it's so nice how collaborative that this piece can be. Even though I don't have a thesis partner in general, I was still able to work with so many awesome people on this event. Yeah, so that's the, thank you. That was the kind of just rough cut, very obviously heavily work in progress. But I had such a great time, and I'm having a good time getting critique and feedback from both my peers and teachers to be able to continue on. So yeah, thank you so much. BFX is delightful, and this department's very good.
Thank you, Em. So as Em mentioned, they're working on the project themselves, but also in our department, our seniors can sometimes choose to collaborate. They get together in groups of 2 or 3 to work on a thesis project. So I actually have a team of 3 coming up next. Joshua, Mulan, and Robert are going to come up, and they're going to share with you their work in progress, which is actually a fully CG piece, and so you'll get to see that as well. So please welcome Joshua, Robert, and Mulan.
Hello. Oh. I hope everyone's having a good morning. Thank you all for coming. My name is Josh.
And I'm Mulan.
And I'm Robert.
And our thesis film is a narrative short film currently under the working title of Hunt of the Aswang. It's a survival thriller that it follows a young, terrified boy struggling to protect his injured older brother as they're being hunted by an aswang, which is a Filipino vampire from mythology. And just to give a brief overview of what our responsibilities are, I myself am the writer, director, and lead character animator, so I'll be responsible for like the performance of the characters and bringing that into the scene.
I'm just gonna go through this. I'm the producer, a character modeler, log dev, and Houdini artist.
And I'm responsible for the Unreal Engine technical stuff, and also I'm the lighting lead.
So kind of briefly, the main setting of our film is set in sort of one location in the dilapidated ruins of a church in the Philippines. And I think this next slide is kind of like a really important thing we would love to discuss.
Yes. So I'm gonna talk about a little bit about production schedule. As you can see on the left side, we have our weekly production schedule, and on the right is a prop list. I just want to emphasize how important it is to have a production schedule, especially working in a team, because you want to make sure everyone is clear about their responsibility, and also especially working in a long-term project is easier to lost track of the time. So being organized and having like deadlines step by step along the way really help accomplish the expected final result on time. Yes.
And kind of going into this project, kind of like M themselves, a lot of it came going into it was about like getting a sense of mood, getting a sense of reference and inspiration. So you kind of like see that throughout this presentation. One of the biggest ones was cinematography. Since our film is more of a thriller, suspense, but still juxtaposed by a sense of intimacy, like grounded emotion between our two main characters who love each other. We kind of looked at some classic films like Alien, Jurassic Park, but even newer work like Prey and The Last of Us 2.
And then these are our art direction references. We want to capture the similar atmosphere, mood, and lighting from these images. And throughout our film, the color is going to change. It's going to start with a dark night, and then as the monster enters, it's going to change to an evil crimson red. And then as dawn comes, it will change to a warmer and more relaxed yellow lighting.
So this is a lot of text, so we're not gonna go through everything. But I think one of the biggest things here is just showing the process of what really helped was getting a sense of design. Like this concept art was made by a very talented artist from the illustration department, Zizna, and they really helped us out with getting a sense of the characters, the clothing, the look. Like for instance, this is our main character Nico, who is very much emphasized by his sense of timidness, indecisiveness, but there is still a sense of compassion and love towards his older brother, which in this case is Danny, who takes on a more traditional, heroic role, very rugged, strong, ready to take on whatever comes after them. And coming into our monster, this was made by another artist who did the concept, Yao. She kind of helped us develop through the aswang, which in the Philippines, kind of briefly, it's kind of it is our version of a vampire, but it has some traits of like a witch or a ghoul, so it gets a bit undead. So she really helped us out with figuring that out. And this is just a bit more reference of getting a sense of texture and inspiration for like how we wanted to approach this vampire, especially considering that one of its main traits is that rather than sucking blood through like fangs, it actually has almost like a butterfly. It has a very sharp, long tongue that slithers around. And the main tool here and almost like symbol in this film is the bolo knife or bolo sword, which is the main weapon of choice that they use when facing off this monster. And it was very fun because it also holds a lot of cultural and historical significance throughout the Philippines. So it's kind of a nice thing to add on while still keeping it within the sense of the narrative.
And next is our environment.
So these are some of the concept art that we made with the help of AI machine learning. And as you can see, like Robert mentioned earlier, we just want to get a general idea of how the lighting affect the scene, especially from deep into the night to the breaking dawn. And here is our church reference. So we mostly just want to go for a Baroque style to create that grand cathedral cinematography environment to support our film.
And this image is our pillar design reference, and the image to the right is the slight modification I did. And next is our environment blockout, and currently it still needs a lot of more details and modeling, but this is the most important overall structure of our church. and this is graded in Maya, which is one of the most important software in this major.
And as you can see, this is a semi-final result of our younger character, Nico. Um, I also built it up first in Maya because if you do get into or study this major, Maya is like one of the most important software that everyone have to learn in our major. Is It's not easy, but it's really helpful. So I built up the basic geometry in Maya, and then for the hair and the details, I sculpted in a software called ZBrush. And then for the clothing, I put it in another software called Marvelous Designer, which is mostly focused on making clothing, 3D clothing. And so, as you can see here on the left top corner, this is what the basic geometry look like in Maya. So that's like the snapshot of the prop view. And then in the bottom, that's what the ZBrush software is gonna look like. So if you're big on sculpting thing, illustrating thing, you could actually do that in a 3D environment in ZBrush. And then finally, the top right corner is where you could build your own clothing in Marvelous Designer, and yeah, be creative.
And Marvelous Designer is also used for professional fashion stuff as well.
Yes. Make sure to follow us on Instagram if you want to see more updates. Thank you guys.
Cool. Thank you very much. Can I just say, for both of these two groups' presentations, I emailed them last week and I was like, hey, can you come talk at this thing? And that was my only direction. And they did some pretty amazing presentations. Thank you so much. That looked really great. So obviously we've been talking about the student experience, especially in the final year. Another aspect of our student experience is that a lot of them will do internships. And is actually interning right now at Framestore. I don't know how they're interning and doing a thesis project at the same time and classes, but cool, good for them. But our students intern in New York mostly, and then in the summers, a lot of them will travel and intern at other studios outside of the city. In fact, we had someone at Mikros in Paris this past summer. That was pretty cool. And then you graduate, and you go on, and you get to work at all these wonderful studios. We really do stay connected with our alumni. A lot of them will come and talk to our students. They'll do guest lectures. We find opportunities to travel and visit them and stay connected as well, and that's a really exciting thing. We have classes where we can take students out to LA so they can see some of the studios and meet some of the alumni as well. But we're gonna back up. We're gonna go back to your first year experience, which is what you're all here to think about. What would it look like as a first year student next year? So I'm actually gonna invite 7 of our students up. It's a big group, but they're gonna come out. Come on up. We're gonna have a panel discussion, and you'll get to ask them some questions. I'll start, but then we have some mics here. Some admissions counselors are here, I think. Reps are here to help pass out mics if you have questions. But we're gonna set up our chairs, and we're gonna have them talk because, again, I don't like to talk, but also they're going to be able to tell you about the experience as a student. Okay. Hi. You're welcome to take your masks off if you're talking, but you don't have to. No pressure. So I think just to begin, you should all introduce yourselves. Daria, maybe we can start with you. Let everyone know your name, what year of study you're in, maybe if there's any clubs or things that you do that would be of interest, and we can just come down the line introducing yourselves.
Hi, my name is Daria. I'm a junior here at SVA. I'm also, you might have seen me outside, I also am the VASA treasurer, so yeah.
Hi, I'm Michael. I'm a sophomore in computer arts.
Hi, I'm Des. I'm a sophomore in computer arts, and I'm a part of the 3D animation club.
Hello, I'm Asar. I'm also a sophomore in computer arts, and I'm going to start working as a lab assistant soon, and I'm also one of the leaders of the 3D animation club.
Hi, I'm Isla. I'm a sophomore in computer arts. I'm a lab assistant, and I can answer questions about the honors program if you have those.
Hi, I'm Bella. I'm a junior in computer art going CG. I'm a resident assistant, and I also am a part of the 3D modeling club.
Hi, my name is Sajin. I'm a junior in computer art. I'm also a resident assistant at one of the residences, and I'm a student representative of the department.
I'm going to play some of their work in the background just quietly, just so you can see some of what they've been up to. And I'm also going to ask the first question, but then we'll open it up to some other questions. You don't all have to answer every question. I was like, let's ask 7 people to come. We'll get about 4 of them to agree. Everybody is so kind and wants to be here, so that's pretty amazing. So my first question to anyone who wants to answer it is, what made you decide on SVA, especially if you were considering other schools, or what made you decide on computer art if you were like, I want to be at SVA, but you were thinking about a different department? So anyone is welcome.
For me, SVA was definitely the top choice for computer arts. I came out of art and design high school, they had major set up, so I already had experience in 2D animation, and originally I was gonna go look for that for college, but SVA has 3D animation, which is like 2D animation, but you get to do even more things sometimes, so it's cool. But at least for me, in New York, I think SVA probably has the best program for colleges for 3D animation. And as a New York City resident, it was just very convenient to be able to come not too far out to go to SVA. But even for like the rest of the country, I think SVA is like definitely one of the top schools for 3D animation. As a major, it's definitely very hard to grasp it. It's not as easy as maybe some other majors where you can learn things online or on your own. A lot of the stuff in this major is very technical, so to have a school like this where you have a lot of materials and just means to what's it called, access to resources, where you have a lot of resources here, which definitely helps you get started in like a career in like 3D animation or modeling or VFX or any of those.
For me, the computer art program here is, first of all, it has a focused VFX option, which is something that in my college search was pretty hard to find. But also just everything is really like professional focused. All the teachers are working in studios and things. And so since I already knew like, oh, this is something I want to do in the future for my job, something in this area, I wanted to go into this program where we get to like focus on learning the skills for this area of work right away. So we get to like dive right into Maya, which is, like everyone said, a really important software. And we just get to have a lot of focused direction towards this area of artwork and skills that we need right from the start. And that means that we have the full 4 years to make a ton of progress and learn a lot of things and learn from students and professors and everything.
For me, I actually didn't start at SVA. I'm a transfer student as well. I don't know if anyone here is. I started my college career off as an engineer, which is very different from what I do now. And I didn't even know animation was something I could do. And in my first year of college, I kind of found it, and I was like, oh, like that's what I meant to do. It was like a little feeling like in my heart, I guess. And kind of just looked up like the best animation schools in New York because I knew I wanted to stay close to home. And I found it, and I looked up. There were so many people that worked at like Pixar, and I love Monsters Inc. and all of those movies as a kid. And I was like, okay, like I think this is the school I want to go to. I feel like at home just looking at it. And ever since I've gotten here, it's been like a very nice sense of home, and I feel very at home in what I do, and living on campus and working on campus. It's been really awesome.
I'm an out-of-state student. I'm from Ohio, and yeah, really. And I'm also a transfer student. I was originally going pre-med. That was a mistake. I was in it for 2 years, and it just was not for me. And SVA actually wasn't my first choice initially, but after I looked at all the schools I was accepted to, I started looking at the students' work and like thesis films from previous years. And I was just blown away by SVAs. And it was at that point that I told my parents, like, yeah, I think I'm gonna go to New York, and had to make a whole PowerPoint presentation on how I could afford it. But yeah, it was really just, it came down to past work that I had seen that really pushed me to come here, so.
For me, I originally was thinking about going into animation, like 2D animation, but I was like debating between 2D animation and 3D because I've never done 3D in my life before college. And I looked at the department reel with all the students' work, and I saw this one thesis which won the Academy Award. And that was like the only reason why I chose. I was like, I want to do that in my life. And I came here, and I'm really glad I decided 3D, and I learned a lot every year. I'm like growing a lot as an artist, and I'm learning so much from this department.
Sorry, I had to run back over here because my clicker wasn't working, and I wanted you to see their great art. Did anyone else want to answer that, or should we open it up to some other questions?
I know you said not for all of us to speak, but I might as well.
No, yeah, go for it.
Might as well keep going. I originally applied for 2D. Well, it's feedback, sorry. So I originally applied for 2D, and I got deferred to 3D.
So you applied for the animation department at
for
SVA.
2D animation, yeah. And I was really questioning on whether I should continue at SVA or try to go to like SCAD or some other school, but I decided to take the risk with computer art, and I wasn't sure if I was gonna really like it, like coming from 2D to an entirely different plane of like, I guess a dimension, you know. But I took the risk, and like I feel like it was really worth it, as in like. I'm learning like more than I would have with just continuing with with 2D, and I'm also like meeting a lot of cool people who some are also in the same boat as me, as like taking the risk to defer to 3D. And from those people who have also had that happen to them, like I've had the same experiences as them, as that like it's a very like I guess familial major, and everyone supports each other with learning and I guess like getting new things, you know.
Des, are you the only one that didn't answer?
Come on now.
Uh,
You might as well.
I can answer. I also got deferred to 3D, but it was actually one of the best decisions I've ever made because
So you had applied for the animation program?
2D animation, but I made a lot of friends. I'm learning a lot of new things and programs. Like our department, we can choose from 3 to 4 programs. You can like modeling, animation, or VFX, and you can like either differ in each area or like be in one singular thing, and it's like really amazing, and I'm glad I'm here.
Nice. I'm glad you're here too. Do you all have questions? Maybe you can raise your hand. I see some questions over here. Is there? Can you? Sorry. Oh, she'll bring you the mic anyway. Not every, and there's also a home audience right over here.
Hi, that work was amazing, by the way. So you talked about deferred. That was one of my questions. If you apply to a major, but you don't get it, does SVA consider you for other majors?
Maybe that would be best answered by admissions, but since the two of you actually had that experience.
Yeah, so I originally applied to 2D animation, and when they were like, oh, so 2D animation's all filled up, you're really good, and your reel is like really good in your work, so you're also eligible for 3D animation. So I accepted that, and then I got in.
Sorry, I'm like really. I accidentally wore my socks inside out, so I'm like focusing on that. But yeah. So the same thing happened with Des. That like I got the email that said like you've been deferred from two, or like the way I read the email, it seemed like I got denied from 2D, and I was like flat out denied from the school. But then like I read into it more, and it talked about sending my same portfolio to the computer arts program, and that I would be a good fit for it. And I was, I guess, like I think me and Des both got scholarships for the computer arts program. So like if your skills or just the like board or the major might be just like closed off, because 2D animation is a very like competitive major with like seats, so it fills up very quickly. So I feel like that's the reason why we got deferred, because like we probably applied later than you should have with certain boards. But I would also like say that it was I'm very glad that like I did get deferred in a way. Like I don't know, I feel like I belong here more than I would have in 2D maybe.
Other questions?
Hello. All of your work was incredible. So my question is, what aspects of 2D animation transfer over into 3D animation?
Yeah, 2D animation is very helpful for like, especially if you're going into 3D animation. A lot of the principles are the same. If you've ever learned like the 12 principles of animation, all of them still apply to 3D animation. A lot of like even taking an elective, like those miscellaneous electives that he mentioned early, some of them you can actually choose 2D animation to get stronger in those, because like the same squash and stretch, all of the like dramatics of 2D animation can apply to character animation in 3D. So most of that stuff still applies. And also you can merge 2D and 3D animation. Some of the thesis films in the past, and I think some of the ones from this coming year have done that in the past too. So really they go hand in hand. And a lot of times people actually work with 2D animators on their thesis films.
And I feel like in the industry now, like 2D and 3D are merging more than ever. Like with the Spider-Verse, like how the characters' faces, like the wrinkles in their face and the eyebrows are animated in 2D, like over a 3D model. And also animating in general is like slightly less time consuming, because the keyframes with 3D are like pose to pose based, instead of having to draw like every individual frame and like smear frame. As like a character moves his arm up, you could just like keyframe him moving his arm. So I guess like in a way it's, you have to know the basics of 2D to like excel at 3D, but it is a little easier maybe to get the hang of 3D than 2D.
Also, like for 2D, there's a lot of, drawing skills and design skills that are required. And we do all of that here as well. We design our characters. We do a lot of storyboarding in Jimmy's like freshman year story class. So we do the storyboarding, we do the designing. We have to do illustrations for like concept art and so on. So there are a lot of 2D skills that are still required and useful as a 3D animator. Yeah.
And if you annoy Jimmy in your freshman year story class, you may be up here speaking in a few years as well.
Okay, we had a question. Need the mic after.
Okay, so hi. I have two questions, kind of. If you guys dorm here, what's dorming like? And do you think 3D is like also competitive to get into? Because I see like a lot of people here, and I'm a little nervous. Not gonna lie.
Dorming. So first year, if you dorm, you're going to be at the 23rd building, which is it's only a 20-minute commute to the computer arts building. Dorming in general is fine. Just, find the right people, please. And I don't know if computer art's competitive. It's like kind of a small department, and everyone knows each other, and everyone's really sweet.
We reject people.
Oh. You'll be fine.
You'll
Thank
be
you.
You'll be fine.
Thank you.
And also, you don't necessarily need 3D work in your portfolio
No.
for it. Yeah.
No. Sajin, you're an RE? Yeah? Yeah, do you want to talk about that experience a little bit?
Yeah, like someone mentioned, it's a 20-minute commute from the dorm. I live in the 23rd Street residence with freshmen, and it's really nice. I like it there, and I just walk here, just short walk, 20 minutes, and walk back to the dorm. And I have my work space there, so it's nice. Do you want to?
Oh, sure. I'm an RA in Gramercy.
Maybe you can explain what an RE is. If you don't know what
So
that means.
it stands for resident assistant. Basically, we're in charge of making sure everyone feels welcome and comfortable in their living space. So we also do health and safety inspections, making sure that everyone's following the housing policies. We also put on a lot of programs, so that's a really great way to connect with people throughout your building. We put on, I had one yesterday where we went to the little island on the west side, and we just had a little picnic there, and we walked around. It was a great way to get a walk in. The weather was great. Other ones we're doing are just Halloween door decorating, scary movie night. We also had a game night. So those are all really great opportunities to get to know people in your residence hall. And I would recommend, if you do, no matter where you decide to go, when you get placed in housing, if you do decide to dorm, go ahead and reach out to people who you're living with ahead, in the summer. Get to know them and see your interests, and also, talk about certain expectations you guys have with that, because once you get those guidelines set, it just creates a really great environment if everyone's aware of what everyone's comfortable with, what they're not comfortable with. Overall, though, I live with residents. I live with 2 of my residents, and it's been great. It's great to know people in different majors, and I really enjoy it. I like being a resident assistant. If you are interested in it, you can talk to me after, at the department. I'm willing to answer any questions about that. It's a pretty easy application process, and you get free housing. It's a little perk, so something to keep in mind. But yeah.
Other questions? Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I was just wondering if any of you had any experience in 3D art or animation before you got into the school, and if you did or didn't, how did the coursework bend around that for each of your experiences?
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I had some, maybe 2 years of experience beforehand, some in 3ds Max and some in Maya, which are just 2 different, they do the same things. Some of them do different things, but they are 3D programs. It's all like Maya. But yeah, the coursework was definitely a lot more cleaning up your workflow. So a lot of stuff you can learn on YouTube, but a lot of this major is about asking the right questions. If you try to work on your own, or even with the experience you have before, depending on how you learned it, you might end up learning a completely different way. Freshman year, some of the professors will definitely clean up your workflows a lot. A lot of the mistakes you might make, you'll get rid of them really quick because they'll drill it into your head. But yeah, stuff like that is always very good to learn, because you're gonna need that going forward if you wanna work in the industry. And second year is kind of the same thing. And at the same time, while you're cleaning up your workflows with even past experience, you're also learning new things that you probably didn't know already, even with previous 3D experience. They go over ZBrush, Maya, and honestly, there's a lot of other programs. There's Houdini, Cinema 4D. There's a lot of programs that you kind of go through. So there's always something new that you're gonna learn coming into here.
So personally, I didn't have any 3D experience before coming here. I had opened Blender and then I got scared and ran away because it looked scary. But I did have 2D animation experience. So I think any experience that you do have will be helpful. That makes sense. But the classes are totally in the first year from the ground up. You will learn everything. You'll be fine if you don't have 3D experience. And I don't know about this, but it may even be harder to relearn things and break old habits rather than learning new stuff. There's a lot of information that they throw at you, but everyone's in the same boat. Like everyone's learning things. Like you said, there's so many programs. Like
Yeah, no, there's a lot of things that you'll probably have to restart. Like I know like people, Blender is free, so I know a lot of people have more access to that. But even that, like once you start working in Maya, you're probably gonna have to like relearn a lot of stuff because it's definitely not exactly the same. 3D, like I don't know if any of you have had experience with digital drawing, but like if you ever use Photoshop, like you try to press the B button in 3D and it's gonna like blow up your screen and you're not gonna know what's going on. But as you like start getting used to it and like actually like relearning with the rest of your class, you're gonna be like thrown into blocks. So all of your classmates will kind of be in the same boat as you. You'll definitely like relearn everything and learn it like the right way. Even if you learned it the right way before, you'll like even clean it up again.
Yeah, I think, well, for me going in, I had literally like no, well, I knew like 3D in general. Like, I don't know if you guys watch like the YouTube channel like Quarter Digital, like they do like 3D videos, and I remember watching that and like, I almost like I thought it was like kind of like impossible for me to like learn. Like I didn't know what compositing was or what like a mesh was or what like Houdini was or like any of that. That sounded like
Because no one gave you a glossary when you walked in.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, we should read those guys. Get stuff in there. No, but I was very nervous coming in because like I did draw a lot, but I never really took the step to animating. Like even in 2D, like I never really like got to that point. But I feel like the school and this major specifically is very good at teaching people. Obviously that's what you're paying for, but like also in general, like it's very good with taking people who have no experience and bringing them up to a level where they could like maybe be on par with their peers who have been doing it for many years beforehand in the first semester. Because like you take your 3D like basics class in your first year. So I feel like if you have no experience at all, it's very easy to get into it, and like the programs are going to seem kind of intensive to get used to, but the professors like kind of like take their time with it. Like, cause you have one class a week that's like 4 hours, so you have enough time to like kind of get into it and ask questions. So you should be fine if you don't have any prior experience with 3D.
I saw another question over there. Yeah.
So how easy is it to transfer if you chose a major and then you decided you wanted to do something else?
Oh,
Say
from
you
within SVA or from another
yeah,
school?
from within SVA. So if you went into 2D and then you changed your mind after a year and you wanted to go to 3D, how does that work? Is it feasible?
I could answer that. Did any of you transfer from within SVA?
We know someone who did.
We know
that.
someone.
So, but I don't know. Like we heard like information secondhand from her.
So if a student from another department wants to transfer in after they've started, they meet with me and do a portfolio review, and then we look at the classes that they've had. What some classes can transfer in, some can't, or some classes can transfer in as their requirements. Some classes just count as electives. If you do it early enough, it's a simple process. If you do it after the first year, you're usually adding another year to your education. Because our freshmen do learn Maya and they start learning all the applications and software packages that are important to our students in the freshman year. And like an illustration student would not have had that, or even animation students, they're not touching Maya. So if you go to a different department and then you want to transfer in after studying a year, a lot of times you're adding another year to your education. Usually as seniors, they're part-time students then because they have enough credits from their electives. But I think that answers that question, I think.
But there are spots if you...
It can happen. And sometimes recently we had a number of students who wanted to transfer into our second year program and it was full, so I had to deny some people. They had the option of starting out as freshmen again. Yeah.
Question over here.
Great.
Thank you. I really enjoyed the art show. You are very talented, and so I really appreciate being able to see that art. My question has to do with where we are today, which is applying to the school. Do you have any tips, tricks, or advice on how to get your portfolio together and how long, second part of the question, how long did it take you to really be satisfied with what you wanted to submit to the school?
I can say on this a little bit. My portfolio, I think a lot of the times it turns out to be this was a very laborious process because it's stressful. You know, you're applying to a lot of art schools and you want to get in, and you know this is your dream. And a lot of times you hold your art very near and dear to your heart, as you should. But also, with that being said, make sure you're looking at it a little objectively and saying like, all right, is this really showing the admissions counselor, whoever's looking at your work, like, is this showing who I am and what I like to do? Because I found that was when I made the best work, was when I was showing stuff that I love to do, or I love to draw, or I just was, topics of subjects that I really, really liked. And I could tell when I was drawing something that I wasn't really passionate about, and I was just drawing it because, it'll look good on my portfolio. So I hope that helps a little.
I had the privilege to be in an IB, or it's like an AP or IB art class. So we build our portfolios from junior year to senior year. So that helped me a lot. But I put a lot of personality into my slideshow when applying to SVA specifically. To show your skill and your personality through your work is very important. So they get a grasp of who you are and like what you like to work with. I also put a lot of drawings from life into my portfolio, so they know I don't just draw little cartoons all the time, but I draw from real life too.
Yeah, I think it is important to also have some foundational pictures like still lives, any drawings from life, environment stuff, studies, and like stuff like that is also important. You want to have like a good balance of both. I think even if you go on like YouTube though, literally, and you like look up past like SVA portfolios for freshman year, you could probably find some examples because just as a general thing, I think it's important to have a mix of both, but also like definitely focus on showing your personality through your pieces. And that can even go for your life drawings too.
Is this about just like applying to art schools in general? It's really intimidating to have to put together a portfolio for every single school. It's like, oh my god, there's so many pieces. But the schools, like, you can reuse pieces from school to school. So obviously, it's like, it's okay. Just like, it's okay. You'll have 20 pieces for SVA or somewhere around that. And then you can use a lot of the same pieces for other schools. So definitely put together something that shows, your skills, your life drawing skills, your observation skills, and also your personality, your creative voice, and so on. And once you have that sort of put together, it's a lot of just picking and choosing, changing little things to fit each program you're applying to. So the overall process, it's scary, it's stressful, but there's a lot of copy and paste. Like, you'll be okay. It's okay.
I would also say a really great resource is the portfolio day reviews or portfolio reviews that some schools hold. Those are really, really great opportunities to get advice, even if it's not SVA's portfolio review day, but just advice from schools on what they're looking for. For me, it was a bit different because like I said, I was transferring, so I had to look back at my high school work because I wasn't doing artwork in a pre-med major, but also laying out all your work and like piggybacking off of what they said, seeing like, oh, I have a lot of portraits, maybe I should try doing something else. Or I included a lot of photography too. Like, don't be afraid to really diversify your portfolio. And then for like the written portion, just be honest, be truthful, be yourself. I think at the end of the day, that's what all colleges want to see. They want to see who you are as a person, to see if you're a good fit for their school and the environment. So just be truthful. And I say, like they said, vary the work you have. But yeah, it can really, those portfolio review days really help. So I would suggest one of those. Yeah.
Personally, for me, when I applied, I focused a lot on observational drawings and sketches. I think that's important, like, in general with art colleges, but like Bella said, it's really important to show your personality and the creative side, and just in artistic way, just try to show every part or what you're good at, and like really show that in your portfolio.
I think we have time for one more question.
Oh, we have an online live stream
You have
question.
an online question. Also, I just want to say, if your question doesn't get asked here, come back to the department. They're coming back with us. You can talk to us in the halls and stuff. But please go ahead.
Yes. So the live stream question is: does the department use Maya and Blender, or is it just mainly Maya?
Mainly Maya. Just Maya, yeah.
Mainly Maya.
Yeah.
We have an elective Blender course this year for the first time, and its focus is on storytelling with Blender, because there's ways that you can use Blender to do some 2D stuff, and there's people who are using Blender more and more for storyboarding, and so that's kind of the focus of that class. Yeah, I think we can take one more, and there's a question right here, and then we'll head back over to our facility.
Hello. I'm just wondering, in terms of the materials, like how many are provided by the school, like the programs and the hardware, like the computers and stuff, and also are the computers like kept up to date and stuff? Because I know in my school there's been some trouble with that.
Yeah, no, we have I think you literally get all of them, all the materials that exist. I mean, yeah, if you go to the labs in the school, they're probably gonna have it. Some things are hard to get licenses for at home, but you can if you do the work for it. But yeah, pretty much everything, even the 2D animation stuff like Toon Boom and stuff, I think we also have access to. So it's pretty much everything you have access to. And also, there are these things, you guys will go to the department building later, but there's these things called render farms. They're very cool. Basically, they're like supercomputers, and they make everything process super fast. And yeah, the lab computers are really good, so you won't have any problems.
Everything is up to date a lot because we were in class one day and we're using ZBrush, and it wasn't up to date on the computers we were using, but we contacted the front desk and they updated within minutes.
Yeah, there are computer labs for you to use in your free time to do your homework. They're open very long hours, and all the software, like I said, is kept up to date all the time, so it's good.
Yeah, and also we have those labs, and then we have things at the front desk that you can rent out. Usually it's a lot of headphones or Wacom pens to use. And also I'll mention, since we're talking about the computer labs that we have, it's a really great place to meet friends and do your work collaboratively, because you're all working really hard and doing a lot of long hours and modeling forever and rendering, and it's really nice, especially towards the end of the semester when we're all stressed out and all in it together. It's a really nice community building space as well.
Yeah, you're gonna get to know the labs very well, probably, as the year goes on. You're gonna become very familiar, for not always the best reasons. You're gonna be in there for a while, but it's good. It's good. You're gonna get to learn to love the grind of the work after a while, in a weird way.
All right, before you scare them too much.
No, it's fun. It's you like what you're doing, so that's what matters.
Thank you very much. We're gonna head over to our facility. It's at 133 West 21st Street. So that's 21st between 7th and 6th Avenues. We'll all walk over together, but I know sometimes as a group you can get lost, so just make sure you have the address. There's giant flags. You'll see it. We have some admissions help to get us over there, people with signs. So we'll take a walk over there. We have more staff and some of our instructors and more students, and these students will join us as well. Oh, it sounds like there's an organization to this. Go ahead. Group A. Is there a Group A? There are optional housing tours after your department tours. And if anyone needs a shuttle, please speak up. It's a short walk, but if you need a shuttle,